Welcome to your first ever Arduino circuit boards training session. In this lesson, we'll be going over the basics of circuits, what a circuit is, and some terminologies that you'll have to know to teach the children. We'll also be covering a very basic circuit which you'll be creating on your own using Tinkercad, an online circuit simulation software. Now, what is a circuit? A circuit is a closed loop in which electricity flows. So let's take a look at this diagram. In this diagram, the black lines represent the cable or the wires that are connecting the circuit. And it's like in a closed loop because all the wires are connected to each other and they're in like a cycle. A current is the amount of electricity that goes through a point. So how much electricity is going through the red one? There's more electricity that's going through the red one than compared to the blue one. So we can say that the current is larger for the red one. And we measure currents in amps or amperes. Voltage is the pressure that actually pushes the electricity. So something will actually have to send the electricity through the cables, right? The amount of voltage or how pressurized the electricity is, we call it the volt. And the higher volt something has, it means that there's more electricity flowing through the entire circuit. What if you want to control the voltage though? That's when resistance comes in. Resistors or resistance controls how much electricity actually comes out and actually controls the amount of electricity that's being pushed through the circuit. And it's measured in ohms or the weird omega symbol. And all together with the ohm, the amp, and the volt, we can create a circuit. The components you'll be using for this project are the LED, the battery, and finally the resistor. Let's take a look at what the LED does. The LED is a very simple light that will just light up whenever electricity is flowing through the circuit. The battery actually provides the electricity to the circuit. The battery will always flow from the positive side to the negative side, and I'll show you what that means later on in our Tinkercad software. The resistor, which is these little cute things, actually resists or stops or limits how much electricity is being flowed through the circuit. And it's kind of this like zigzag symbol that we use for resistors. The cable actually allows the electricity to flow through the circuit, and actually we need to connect those components all together in order to create a circuit. And it's just a line in our circuit drawings. The breadboard is what actually we use to connect all these cables and components together so that the electricity can all flow. There are metal strips which conduct electricity, and to connect our circuit, we'll have to zigzag through these strips. Now you'll see GND and 5V, which I'll show you later on, but the GND, you can think of it as the negative, and the 5V, which is the positive. So electricity will actually come out of the 5 voltage, and it'll go back to the GND, as you can see from this diagram. So think of the plus as the 5 voltage, and the negative as the GND. Let's try building the circuit to turn on a very simple light. So, this is the circuit that we actually have to create in Tinkercad. Let's see how we can do this. You can pause the video here to read the instructions, or I can teach you how to do it on Tinkercad. Going into Tinkercad, I've already built a circuit here, but I'm going to delete it so that I can show you how to actually build the circuit. Now you'll see components. All you can do is you can click on Arduino and then the breadboard. For this project, you won't need these two cables, so you can just erase them like this. Now, we're going to be needing a resistor. So we can search up from all resistor. I'm going to place this resistor on the positive side. And notice how the positive side, there's actually a cable that connects the resistor to the plus side cable. So I have a resistor there. And I also need an LED light. And I'm also going to need an LED light. After I place this resistor back, I'm going to search up for LED, which is the light that's actually going to be lighting up. So I place the LED light on here. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to use cables to actually connect. Let's put it there. And I'm actually going to be using cables to connect these. So I'm going to place a cable here and connect it to the negative side this time actually. When you're done with it, you can actually press start simulation at the very top. So I'm going to press start simulation. And as you can see, the LED lights up. Let's see why this might be the case. So as you can see here, there's this little tiny 5V red cable. So the red cable goes all the way up here, connects to the positive side. And remember in the circuit, let me show you the diagram again. In a circuit, we have to start from the positive side, so the 5V. We connect it to the resistor, and the resistor goes through the LED, and then we come back to the GND. So, if we take a look at our diagram again, so the 5V is the red cable, connects to the positive side. This plus sign actually, you see this red line, the green line. The green line actually connects to this resistor. So the resistor goes from this terminal all the way to terminal 2 here. And then, as you can see, there's another green line that will basically connect the resistor to the LED. So in Tinkercad, we don't actually have to explicitly connect all the components together because there are metal strips running through. So if I just hover over all of these dots, you can see that there are metal wires underneath them that will connect them together. So the resistor here is connected to the LED, and then on the other side of the LED, we actually have a cable that runs from this metal strip all the way to the negative sign, so that the negative sign can go all the way back, and then we loop back towards our GND, which completes our circuit. So this is the circuit that we just created. Notice here we have the resistor symbol, and we use the 220 ohm resistor. So in order to actually set the resistance, what we can do is we can go to ohm, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 220. Now notice if I have 1 ohm, it's basically bursting. So I have to change this into 220 so that there's no problem. You might notice that it's a bit brighter. That's because the ohms for this one, so the resistance is much lower. Now, let's take a look at a button. So a button, very simple. You just click on it, right? And then the LED will light up. So in the next activity, we're going to be adding a button to our circuit. So as you can see, the wire goes out. It goes through the resistor, but then there's a button which actually kind of separates the electrical flow. But whenever we click on the button, the electrical flow is restored, and the button actually powers the LED, which goes back to the GND. Let's see how we might do this. You can pause the video here to follow the instructions or listen. So we're going to be using the same circuit, but I'm going to be deleting our current ones. Oops. But, okay, so let's search up our resistor. I'm going to place our resistor on the positive side again so that the electricity will actually flow to the resistor. And after the electricity flows to the resistor, I'm going to be placing a button here. So notice how the button is actually going to be connected to the resistor now. Let me make it a bit bigger for you here so you can follow along better. So I have my plus side, which is connected to the resistor, as you can see from the green metal strip, which goes all the way here. And then the resistor is actually connected to this button right over here. And I'm going to place an LED as well right over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my my cables to connect these two together. So I'm going to drag a cable from here to there so that the button is connected to the LED. But now we actually have to connect the LED back over to the negative sign like here. So I connected the LED lights, so the metal strip is actually being connected to the negative side, which flows back to our GND, as you can see from down here. So we have 5V, which is our plus sign of the battery, and then GND, which is the negative side. So now let's actually start our simulation to see what we get. And remember, for the resistance, we have to change this into 220 ohms. So if we start the simulation, if I click on this button, the LED will light up. But if I don't, it'll just turn off. That was it for our first lesson. I hope that you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.